Hello, YouTube!
And TCG fans.
This is Davide
And James.
from Carbound, bringing you something entirely different.
That's right. We're not actually going to be doing a box opening. I don't know if you noticed from the flipping title.
And the lack of hands.
And the lack of hands. And the lack of our beautiful, manicured, that's a lie, hands. But yeah, now that we've got 400 subscribers, woot, 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 we thought we'd sort of expand our repertoire, as it were, and bring you some original content in regards to like some recent news.
Yeah, so apparently recently Sony announced this new thing that they're working on with a company that they made, which is called ForwardWorks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've made this project called Project Field. Now, the reason why we thought it would be cool to make a video around it was because this is actually something to do with trading card games.
Yeah.
So
we thought we'd cover some TCG news that's not just cards being released. It was quite interesting to us, and we hope it's interesting to you guys as well. So yeah, if you like this kind of new content we're going to try out, do leave a comment in the comment section.
Definitely let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we'll get right into this article. Like, we found several articles about this.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Kotaku this week released that's where I saw it on Kotaku. I went to a real news site after that. But yeah, they drew to my attention that Sony has started up a new company, which is under the umbrella of Sony, called ForwardWorks. And what ForwardWorks is their new smartphone side of the business. And strangely, instead of just doing like any other generic kind of Farmville, Clash of Clans kind of games for their new smartphone division, they've released this new, sort of concept. I'm going to say concept art for this new project called Project Field. Sorry, I completely steamrolled you there.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's just I wanted to make the comparison with like Hearthstone being everything digital, but this is actually like not fully digital.
Yeah,
I wanted to lead into what you said, but no, it's definitely correct what you said. So to kind of pick up off of that, so it's not on the tablet. There will be separate sort of how would you call them, platforms?
What Project Field is it's a trading card game, which consists of smartphones and these new fangled fancy tablet hardware that they're introducing, which are basically the same size as as an iPad, but they're these big, clear, absolutely no screen on them, just sort of platforms.
And kind of these placeholder indications. Yeah,
and these pads just dedicated for Sony card games, with integrated IC chips. So you'd put an IC chipped card that Sony would produce onto this platform, and then it would appear on the smartphone. Yeah, it's pretty much like, imagine Hearthstone, but if you actually had your Hearthstone deck, and then you put it on a little tablet, and then it would appear in Hearthstone.
Yeah. And the cool thing about this thing is like you can put a card on it, and it would also detect how you place it. Like, for example, in Vanguard or in Yu-Gi-Oh, any card game, really, when you tap a card, it would actually register it.
Or floop it
it if you want to floop the pig.
If you floop the pig, the smartphone will register. Well, the tablet itself will register that you flooped the pig.
The only problem I have with this so far is that I'm sure they'll create bigger tablets.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have an image up on there, and you can see the happy little Asian kids playing with it, and the one kid who's sort of laughing at them playing it.
Scrubs, this is nothing compared to Magic the Gathering.
He's the filthy peon who can't afford these two pads. But you'll see that it's basically they've got it on the floor, and it's an iPad in the middle, showing what looks like a Hearthstone-y kind of game. They have their hands sort of on the floor, and then they have cards on the tablet. And in some other artwork, you see that they flute some of the cards, which is quite interesting because it sort of shows that you can have different positions, and it actually you can have. One thing that they point out is not only the position and orientation where the card is placed sort of registers on the tablet, but also movements such as vertical slide, side to sideways, change direction, for example. They get detected by the tablet, and so you can do movements like in Vanguard when you sort of shift forward to attack, it'll register that.
Yeah.
And you can avoid and stuff. So you can have loads of different sort of battle movements that are registered in the game. And they also sort of released that you can it can record strength of cards. For example, it can track HP. They can level up.
It was definitely like a thing that I wanted to touch on, which is like, when you play Vanguard or Yu-Gi-Oh and you do an equip card, and it's like, oh, do plus 1,000 attack, but it's minus so much defense. Or in Vanguard, it's like, oh, I pulled the critical trigger, it gets these effects. It would actually, if it was if it had to remember it.
Yeah, the smartphone would register it.
It would register it, and it would remember it as well.
Or life points in Yu-Gi-Oh!
It would basically hold track of everything. But this is also card ID wise as well. Like a single card that got, for example, if there's an effect that said this card is 3,000 attack, it gets plus 600 attack, but now it goes to the graveyard. And you would take it off, but it registered that it got 600 attack.
Yeah.
Then you would put it to the graveyard, and then later in the game you would bring it back, and the tablet would be like, "Yo, that's still a 3,600 because I remembered."
Yeah.
And because the IC chips, they also have a sort of memory to them, so I think that's also a really cool thing.
Yeah. And yeah, just basically giving you guys some more context and information on the article. So, according to Mr. Kazuyuki Sakamoto, of the Sony field office, he says this is going to be the product is supposed to be a new My First Sony, which was this stuff released in 1998. For you young'uns who don't know what My First Sony was, God, I'm trying to think of you know Mr. Spell from Toy Story.
Yes,
Mr. Spell is you're welcome.
Yeah.
That'd be on My First Sony. My First Sony were these kind of really toyetic red yellow Sony products, like a Walkman, and it would be huge, or a microphone and stuff. So what Mr. Sakamoto has basically said is he wants to start introducing My First Sony products into their smartphone division. So Project Field has the similar kind of idea. So it can get the kids into the Sony products.
Currently, no game though has been no big title currently has said to be affiliated with this project.
Yeah.
But this new game, I am completely out of touch with this. But I do know that it's kind of popular right now with the kids. It's called Yokai Watch.
It's down with the kid. I've talked to my kids, and they don't shut up about these Yokai Watches. I don't know where the hell you
went there.
Where I went. But yeah, they've sort of signed a deal with Yokai Watch, which is a very popular anime in Japan.
Yeah.
And it has a really, really good DS game that's
I
not
saw loads of commercials about
that old. It's a few months old. And they've recently got Yokai Watch 2 out, which is by the way, I will plug those. I will totally plug those. You guys need to play them. I don't care if the new Pokemon is out. Also, get the new Pokemon. It's really good. But Yokai Watch isn't Pokemon. Whoever the hell says Yokai Watch is just Pokemon, it's not. It's its own thing, and it's awesome. But like it's the same kind of audience.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, these really cartoony, adorable things like Pokemon that level up and get stronger. So they're going to create a hopefully a TCG based on that.
Yeah. So so that's kind of like a summary.
Yeah, a very rough, vague, tangenty summary.
There isn't that much information out just yet. I mean, we are getting this from like Japanese websites, and we've tried to gather as much as we could to kind of give you guys a picture. But yeah, I hope it gives you guys more of a better idea of what this project field is.
So, what's your initial reactions of this, Davide?
First off, I was super excited. I saw this when I was working in the office, and I immediately asked my colleagues everything about it. I just needed to know. The first thing that came to mind was we can finally see Blue Eyes White Dragon in 3D.
Holy mumra, real monsters!
Like, finally I can have my Blue Eyes White Dragon.
My Blue Eyes White Dragon.
So that was like my first reaction, but then the second thing kicked in, and I was like, those tablets are way too small for like Vanguard. For Pokemon, I think it could work if your bench is off the tablet.
Yeah.
If your bench is off the tablet. But for all the other card games, that tablet that they show, like you will see it in the picture here as well, it is just too small.
Yeah.
So I hope they make a bigger one.
My initial reaction was, as a contrast. So from your excitement, I was like, what? Come on, Sony. Mainly because, like, don't get me wrong, like the whole like actually having like like duelist tournament kind of freaking fields and stuff sounds awesome. Look, like, I agree, looking at the size of it, it looks way too small. But with the new chips and stuff, again, we don't really know much. It could potentially, like, what's on your bench, you just sort of tap it somewhere and then you put it off to the side or whatever.
Yeah.
My main concern was when I looked, I sort of zoomed in and I looked, not at the cards, not at the tiny Asian people, otherwise known as children.
How good of you to notice that, James. The children.
What's the word I'm looking for here? Human. I zoomed in on the screen, and it looked like Hearthstone. Now I know these are completely promo images, so I'm literally just judging a book by its preview cover. But if I've got real cards, and I have to pay extra for this thing, and then all I'm doing is playing Hearthstone, it just looks like Hearthstone with extra steps.
But that would be specific for the game that they're actually showing.
Yeah,
obviously, if we played Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, it would look different.
Yeah, if they do go like a Yu-Gi-Oh route, because in all honesty, I don't think they'll probably sign up with Yu-Gi-Oh or anything to get cards like this. Mainly because Yu-Gi-Oh has such a large library of cards that digitizing them, also adding like the chips and making the monsters and also just general like legal stuff, it'd be pointless. They'd probably make a completely new card game for this.
I mean, we will get reprints. We already do it now in loads of games. We get reprints of cards. So sorry, you just completely caught me off guard.
I just started attacking his face. Our audio guys said that we should increase our volume. But yeah, like that was my initial reaction. Again, I feel like we need a bit more information onto what actual card games we're going to have on it. Yeah, my initial reaction was a bit there. Like it just looks like Hearthstone with extra steps and also a lot more money. But how do you think this applies to the other current big names? Like, do you think that other big named sort of card games are actually going to kind of get in on this?
I like to believe they will. I like to believe that, but if I have to be realistic, I'm not sure, because it's like you said, they have a library, they have their own little fan base, and I think that if they wanted something like that, they would do it themselves.
Yeah.
In some sort of way, if not through an app. But I think if they used Project Field's technology and they gave their own little twist to it, like they get the Project Field, which are those tablets, and they would make a bigger one, and
you just want a bigger.
Yeah, I want a bigger. I want one like big enough to play Vanguard on, really. But yeah, like if it's big enough and it facilitates the current cards, like for example, Konami, like the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they have like a little thing on the border at the bottom, like a little sticker, like fluey sticker.
Yeah.
I like to think that's a chip. I like to think that. Or like they would just reprint.
Is Konami using the tiny weird little fluidy chip things to control your decks?
But like for example, in Vanguard, they would just go like, okay, a new season of Vanguard comes out, but from now on the cards are new, better quality, and they have a chip integrated to work with Project Field. I can see that happening for all these TCGs, but if they will, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they were gonna join Sony, and if Sony was actually a smart enough company to do this, they should probably, I mean, looking at oh my god, their name escapes me. Oh god, Dishonor, the Vanguard makers.
Bushiroad.
Oh my god, I should commit Sudoku.
Seppuku. It's Seppuku.
I should commit Sudoku.
You gonna figure out some Japanese puzzles?
I have brought dishonor, I must commit Sudoku. God. Late in the day. But yeah, I like Bushiroad love making card games. It's really obvious for like the amount of card games they make.
They're 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, they're 5 freaking card games. To the point where you're like, okay, Bushiroad, I love you, but you got an addiction, and it's starting up card games. Sony could totally approach Bushiroad or Konami and be like, look, maybe not your current card games, because they have a history, and also we'd have to deal with some licensing, but would you want to create a new card game for this platform?
That's actually a good point.
You know, but like instead of going to like some startups and being like, make a completely new card game for this, go to the guys who know how to make card games and be like, look, you've got like tactile, like physical card games down. Let's like, you know, make a new card game with this new element.
Yeah.
And also you've got the fan base who know Bushiroad. And then, you know, you've got another company who could be like, hey, look at this. However, I feel that would start later on down the line of the lifeline of Project Field, if it actually does happen. But like, you know, that brings up the next question: do you think it'll actually catch on? Are we just talking about a thing right now that nobody particularly cares about? I mean, like, also, do you guys think it will catch on? But
I mean, if anything, this is still in early development phases. So, and there's very limited information. We're just going off by what we know, and we kind of theorize around it. So, will it catch on? I think there are elements that are very attractive and could be very intriguing for TCG players. But again, it's all up in the air at this point. We just don't know enough.
I mean, it's a cool bit of kit. Looking at it, like I'd love to see where it goes. I'm too cynical. I'm too old and too bitter. Like there's a childlike wonder that, like the kid that bought the booster packs in me, that is like, man, I really want this because it's a completely new kind of card game. It's a new way card games can be played, and I want to see it catch on. I want to see a new generation of like card game players in a new way, and like with smartphones, it could actually bring TCGs more to a casual audience.
Yep.
But the cynic in me looks at how bad Sony is at marketing as an overall company, and then like looking at their movies, looking at their do you remember the PS3 trailers, which would just be like a PS3 in an empty white room and a weird baby mannequin crying and then laughing and just giving you night terrors.
That was in the 90s.
No, it was for the PS3. That wasn't in the 90s.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that was like 90s.
Shut up, sound wizard.
Sorry.
You don't know. You're just checking our levels. Hell, I could be wrong. but yeah, Sony isn't a good company, is what I'm saying.
They do try. They do try.
But yeah, they could totally try. I think that, but yeah, like bringing up the past of Sony, and also I can look at old examples of this.
Well, there's one obvious one, isn't it?
Yeah, speaking of the PS3 and old examples of a toy to games that didn't work, Eye of Judgment.
So yeah, I actually, as a kid, I remember going to like my local game store and I saw the box and I was like, "What? Yu-Gi-Oh on the PS3?"
Yeah,
And then you actually realize, dude, that game is not good.
yeah.
Noughts and crosses.
It's just
You got your noughts, you got your crosses, and we put them in a card, and then you have to fiddle frick around with it in front of a camera.
it was also sometimes if you didn't place the map correctly, it just wouldn't register your card. Half of the time you're just like under the camera being like, "Please let me just play. I just want to play this card."
I remember getting it to work perfectly, and then realizing the freaking game cheated. Here I am with this deck, and just being like, I'm putting out my goblin. I can't remember any Eye of Judgment cards. I'm gonna put out my, get the middle, because you're a kid. You're like, I'll get the middle square. That's how you win noughts and crosses. And then like the AI would just put something on the side like 5,000 attack versus your 500. And then you're like, what? Excuse me, I just opened up this game. I would like to play this game. Can you play this game, please? And it got to the point where I would actively just shuffle through the deck because the AI doesn't know. Like looking through my deck, being like, what card do I have that can beat this freaking card that the AI just showed up with on level 1? Like, just hand-picking from my entire deck, what card can I use to beat it? And then I just couldn't. Maybe I was just terrible at card games. It's most likely that, but still, that very discouraged me from buying more goddamn cards.
But one point I did like though about Eye of Judgment was you could go into a game store and buy booster packs. Like, it's just something I really like. I like booster packs. And the fact that there was like a digital game with physical booster packs, that was a good idea. I think it was just poorly executed.
Yeah.
But I think definitely with this Project Field, if we compare those two, I think Sony is definitely taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But obviously we need to see how it will progress in the future.
Well, I mean, like looking from a technical point of view, just sort of at base value, Eye of Judgment used a camera, which is really environment dependent
as well.
Like it needs its whole big sort of platform. You need to sort of you needed that crane, but with looking at this, you can just slap them on and it's a chip. It just reads the chip on the card. And also, it's got an awful lot of years' worth of technological progression behind it.
But one thing that I like though is that Project Field is kind of like the Wii Amiibos and the Skylanders.
Yeah.
That's kind of like where it's touching on with cards.
Yeah, like you can definitely see where Sony's sort of got their inspiration for it. They're like, oh, Amiibos, Skylanders, Disney Infinity for a short period of time, like did really well. You know, we can get into this toy to game sort of platform,
Yeah.
because you know, like it's win-win. Like
And
you
it's
don't
appealing.
you don't need in-app purchases. You have literal purchases.
Which would change nothing, like how we currently deal with TCGs.
Yeah, and it's already like in-app purchases do have, you know, a lot of companies have poisoned the well of that. But everyone buys booster boxes or
Exactly.
booster packs, so
Exactly.
it's nothing new. And
It would
like,
just be an extra feature.
yeah,
You can play it like you always have, or you can now play it digitally. And I just think it's really nice because if you don't have anyone to play with, like for example, you and I, we're really busy people.
Yeah.
You don't always have the time to sit at the table. It would be so nice to just like whip out like a tablet,
Yeah.
log in like your cards, and just play against the computer. Like you would simulate, but you have your cards in front of you. I think it would also be so nice, or like play like that over the internet, like
Yeah.
you from your home, me from my home.
It
It
has-
would be great.
it has the utility of Hearthstone's
Yeah.
sort of like player base. You know, you could always be online playing a card game with someone.
Yeah.
That's really good. However, the sort of toys to game contrast to Amiibo is, I mean, I'm looking at your Amiibos right now and they look cool because they're toys.
Yeah.
You know, they are literal toys to games. You have a little toy, you put it on there.
And it turns
It's in
physical.
the game.
Yeah.
With cards, you know, it's going to be a pack of cards somewhere.
Yeah.
And also with Hearthstone is already Hearthstone.
You don't want to just copy paste Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So I think this is definitely something that they have over Hearthstone. So if it will survive in this climate that we currently are in with like TCGs and digital TCGs, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to become like the next big thing. I don't know if this is going to be the thing. But I think it's a very ambitious attempt from Sony and Forward Works. And I like to be optimistic about it and believe that this will be a step in the right direction for trading card players.
Yeah, I agree with that. My feeling about will it survive is it depends on two things for me. Two big things will make or break Project Field. The first one is the price of the tablet.
Yeah.
Because getting people into card games is already kind of hard. Like, fair enough, you know, oh, look how cool it is. Like, look, it's on your smartphone, it's hip. All the kids have the smartphones. But then, you know, I mean, you have all, I'm sure, had this sort of moment where you introduce your hobby, your card game, to someone new, like one of your friends, and then they're like, "Oh, this is great, this is cool. What do I need to play it? Like, oh, can I play it? Regular card games, Yu-Gi-Oh. You can go, oh, well, you know, you can use my spares." And we can make a deck from that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, oh, if you just buy some booster packs or this structure deck, you know, it's pretty easy to get into a card game if someone's sold on the concept. Hearthstone, whatever. It's way easier to get into because it's like, oh, hey, it's this really nice, really cool free-to-play app. You can download on your smartphone, you can download on your iPad.
Pre-made decks.
Has pre-made decks, has tutorials and stuff. You can play without even ever frickin' playing anyone real. If you just need something to like de-stress with, and you don't have to pay a penny. With Project Field so far, it's like, oh, cool, I really like this. How do I join you, friend, in Project Field? Oh, all you have to do is buy these cards. I mean, like, you know, same argument. You can get structure decks or whatever.
Yeah.
Hypothetical. But also you need to buy this tablet. you got this thing on top. Oh, and you have to buy this thing, which is essential to play it. If it's like 30 quid, sure. Doubt it will be.
It could be. It
could be. I don't know how Sony will make something like that and also not have it feel shoddy or be at a loss.
Or it could just cost like any regular game, which is like 50, 60 pounds. I still feel that's acceptable because that's how much a game would cost.
Yeah, but it's for your smartphone.
Tablet.
Or a tablet, yeah. And I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of investing in tablet iPhone games. That's just me personally. I'm a bitter old fart. Anyway, the second and the most important thing is it has to have good card games on it.
Yeah.
The card games themselves have to be good. They have to have good mechanics. The UI has to bring something new. You can't just slap a card down and it be Hearthstone with extra steps. You can't just slap a card down and it just look like you're playing a regular card game but on a smartphone. It has to bring something new. And with it being completely digital, it can be. You could just slap your cards down and it could be, like a new version of Pokemon. I slapped down my 6 cards, and then you just pick up your smartphone and you're playing Pokemon. Could be anything.
Mm.
So it has loads and loads of potential. We'd have to find out. Maybe we'll do like a chase up. We'll do a follow up when they release more information. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think definitely this will be something to keep an eye on. We will keep you guys posted. If there's like any major big news on this Project Field subject, we will make a video about it. We'll keep you guys posted. And
also, if we have any other random things to rant about for this long, we'll let you know.
So, we're going to round it up here. Thank you guys for listening. Let us know in the comment section below if you guys like these kinds of videos, if you want us to discuss something else, just anything. Just let us know.
Yeah, if you have any more topics for us, we'd love to just blather on about them for half an hour.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you smash that like button and
smash it.
And we will see you guys in the next video.
Smash.
Yes, I do. So you don't care about the money? Well, yes, it's true. And I'm so blessed to be fulfilling my destiny. All material things could mean less to me. Only thing I ever could need.